Well, hello there. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Putting the podcast down. I'm Bino. That's Derek over there. This is Get Geekish, and we do this weekly podcast. And we sit there and talk about whatever geeky, nerdy thing our hearts decide on. How you doing this week, Derek?
You know, I wasn't even looking at you on the screen, and I could just feel the awkwardness of that. Hello there. I'm doing all
Awkward.
right.
It's what I do best.
Oh man.
We went this week. We wanted to go back and we haven't done a spotlight on anybody in a while, and a little random playlist popped on in front of Derek over there, and we decided one of our old pop punk favorite bands. We're gonna give a little
Shout out.
I
don't even know what it is.
Yeah, Bowling for Soup. If you love Bowling for Soup, you know what you're talking about. If you don't love Bowling for Soup, go listen to them and try it again, because they're just probably one of the most fun bands around.
I would say that everybody knows at least one of the hits.
That's true. They did have enough commercial success that you could call them a household name in some respect.
Mm-hmm.
They were never like the chart-topping, selling 10 trillion albums a year band, but
they should have been. I feel like they didn't get enough recognition for how creative some of their songs are. Because, you know, Almost is a great song. 1985, great song. It's just, but there's other songs on the albums that you listen to them, you're like, that's some lyrical genius right there. You know, they're just one of those fun bands.
They know how to write a hook. I think they got overshadowed a little bit because they did come to popularity in the middle of the huge resurgence of pop punk, where a ton of bands sounded very similar. And I can't fault it. I loved it too. There were a lot of bands that sounded like Bowling for Soup. Bowling for Soup sounded like a lot of other bands. So to anybody that didn't really get into it, like, oh yeah, another one of those. Okay, yeah, move on. Same thing as Sum 41 and Simple Plan and Phoenix TX and all that. Yeah, and all those, and people just lumped them all together in one thing. So I think that was part of the problem, because some of those bands, and again, I loved them all, so I'm not trying to dog them, but some of them had more talent than others. Some of them were just fun, but Bowling for Soup had a lot of talent that was tucked in some of those little power chord melodies.
Do you think it was the name, their band name? Because we've talked about that before, how band name can set up failure or success, right?
I think it could be. It's Bowling for Soup is not it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Well, and especially like in the radio days too, you know, we would go from, hey, that was Bowling for Soup. Make sure you join us tonight. We're going to be at Chipper's Lanes for you know, the Big Lebowski, and doing some bowling. And people would be like, is there going to be soup there? What's going on?
What's interesting is, have you read the story of how they came up with their name?
No, I have not. Enlighten me.
Well, there's a few, if you look online, there's a few discrepancies. There's one place that said it was based off an old TV show called Bowling for Dollars, which is malarkey. Apparently, they were trying to make the name more palatable, because it was originally based off an old Steve Martin skit.
Okay.
Where it was in his Wild and Crazy Guys thing, where he was talking about books that he'd written, and one of the books was called Bowling for a different S word that I can't say. And so that's what they wanted their band name to be, but when they were thinking about, oh yeah, well, our grandma can't say that name, she's not going to like that, and we can't put up flyers in the mall if it says Bowling for S word, so it would be Bowling for Soup. Which, you know, kind of a fun little story behind it. You read some interviews about it, and it's like a big joke I've read. There's some people that say that it was a whim, like they just changed it last second when a record label called and asked what the name was, and other ones. But I think it's one of the things that's, you know, kind of the Bowling for Soup lore, per se. And there was a question on Twitter that somebody begged that for years, they said, guys, I have to ask, is it bowling on behalf of soup or bowling to earn soup? Because Bowling for Soup could have different meanings. And it went on for decades of nobody really giving a firm answer, but then recently Jarrett finally responded to somebody on Twitter and said it was bowling to earn soup. Because he equated it to music, and the band and going on tour was our life. It was our income. So we were playing music, going to shows in order to get income for our life. So we were literally bowling for soup, to get soup.
I wonder if they ever thought about doing like the AFI brand, or I guess, you know, I was going to say the BTS brand, but they're before BTS, of doing BFS, you know?
But BFS doesn't roll off your tongue either.
Yeah, there's still
BFS sounds like some sort of like colon disease or something.
I was going to say, in my head, it sounded better than when I said it out loud, and I was like, yeah, AFI flows, BFS does it. Do you suffer from BFS? Oh man, that's so. Yeah, I mean, and they formed in Texas, Wichita Falls, right?
Yeah, that's actually why I assumed you brought them up, because you're all Texified now. But
Yeehaw! No, I do love the comeback to Texas. So, I mean, that's again, you listen to their songs, and they're so much fun.
well, let's just go back. Let's go back through the discography. We'll relive some of it, because a lot of people forget some of these songs even exist. So let's just start right there, right?
Okay.
Let's see. Where did I pull up the discography here? So it has it all. 'Cause they've been a part of a lot of different things, but on themselves. Let's see here. I had all my tabs set up ready for this, and I somehow put them all. There we go. So Bowling for Soup self-titled album came out in 1994.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like... What did you see the video they put out in over the pandemic year?
Oh yeah, it made it. It's great.
They're. I mean, we're close to the same age as them, and they're aging along, and they're making fun of themselves for doing it, and enjoying every second of it. And it was very, very relatable. Go search the Bowling for Soup videos, and they have a ton of good videos. We'll go through that, and we're talking about too. But okay, 1994, first album, Bowling for Soup. Never really got a commercial success out of this. The initial release only had 3,000 copies. And then they digitally remastered it and released it around 2011 with all this on there. But
what were you doing in 1994?
I was deciding I couldn't wear sweatpants to school anymore because I was getting made fun of in 7th grade.
How old were they in 1994? Because that's what baffles me, man. Is like they reconnected in kindergarten in the fall of 1977. So he began playing music in 1985 at 13 years old. This is the lead singer. So okay, they're a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little older than us.
But that's like, I'm just putting my head around that of 1994. That's the age of cassettes, and I'm just like, I think of like you said, Bowling for Soup kind of made that resurgence around the late 90s, early 2000s. So like 1984, I'm just like, wait, what?
Well, it also goes through it because they had to, get their stuff together and do a little practicing, because I discovered some of them, I think, around college radio days. I heard a few songs from Let's Do It for Johnny, which was all the way back in 2001, I think. Was that when that came out? Yeah, and I mean, they had almost three and a half albums without much commercial success at all.
Yeah, Let's Do It for Johnny was released on Jive in 2000.
Yeah. And then when you get to the next album, then they finally started like, oh, hey, this is a force to be reckoned with here.
Drunk Enough to Dance.
Mm-hmm. That album.
That's the one that kind of put them on the map, right?
Yeah,
With Girls All the Bad Guys Want.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that was. I remember seeing the album that came out. It was at the studio at KCSU, which is the college radio station I worked at. And you see these guys, and they've got their powder blue frilly suits standing in the front of it. You're like, is this a joke? What the heck? What? And then you listen to it like, this is catchy stuff.
They don't take themselves seriously, which I think just adds to the charm.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know it's kind of like the Newfound Glory type of thing, like pop punk. Exactly. Yeah. They know who they are. They know what they represent. They don't take themselves seriously, and they just have fun with it. If you've ever seen them in concert,
have a great number of songs that are about, hey, we're just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
You got a problem? Go somewhere else. We're just trying to have fun. You don't like our songs? Cool. Another band's coming on after us.
Or I'm sorry, we're the headliners. So, well, that's the thing is, like, if you've ever seen them live, they put on a heck of a show. I went to one of their shows at the Ogden. I want to say the Ogden. My car got towed at that show, so that show was always going to be with me because I learned a life lesson there. Don't park at the Wendy's during a concert.
Ooh, we all learned that lesson.
Mm-hmm. But going in there, it was so much fun. I actually have I don't know where it is. I should have got it out for the podcast. I have a hat that's signed by them, and it's so much fun. They like the energy up there. You're just like, yeah, everybody's having fun, and that's we'll get into it a little bit later, but that's the same thing as like with their older videos too, or their newer videos rather, where they're older. They still have that energy, and they make me feel, oh yeah, we can do it. Just give me some Advil this time.
Mm-hmm. They every time they do something in all their videos, and I think I saw him once or twice. I want to say I saw him with Mest and Good Charlotte or something like that back in the day. Might have been the Ogden too. I don't know, but
that seems like a good lineup.
Yeah, some bands stand on stage and here's our music. Yeah, thanks for playing. Oh, yeah, we're so hardcore. What's up? But they got on stage and it was like a circus run by skateboarders.
They didn't stop moving. They did not stop moving. And everybody. If you've seen a band perform live in Colorado, everybody has to comment on the altitude. Now they're out of breath.
Yeah, you got at least 4 songs before that's brought up at least one time. How do you guys breathe here in this altitude?
But I think they may have brought it up, but they still went with it, and they still just kept going. Because I mean, some artists in Colorado would come out high energy, and then they'd kind of falter because of the altitude. They did not stop. They just kept going and going and going, and it's awesome. They're just one of those bands, and every time I hear a song, that pops up on my iPod, be it Surf Colorado, Emily, Running from Your Dad, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. It's just one of those ones I could just picture it at the show, be like, yeah, and it sticks with you,
Mm-hmm.
It sticks with you. But let's move on. So we got Drunk Enough to Dance, where they kind of got their foot into the door finally.
Mm-hmm. Then they got A Hangover You Don't Deserve, came out in 2004, that really kind of put them in front of mass audiences.
I was gonna say the Drunk Enough to Dance got them in the rocket, kind of going, and then when 1985 hit, boom.
Yeah, because Girl the Bad Guys Want was the music industry was ready to call Bowling for Soup a one-hit wonder and move on, and then they followed up with a 1985 that people loved even more. Like, okay, hold on.
And Almost.
Ohio, Come Back to Texas. That's a great song. My Hometown song off that one, it's not, it's explicit, but that's one of my all-time favorites for them.
It's relatable. I think that's why. It's relatable.
Yeah, they do have a lot of lyrics that they're catchy and clever, but they're relatable to. I think I'm probably the target for a lot of the songs they sing about.
I know you're like, wait a minute, what?
I know that. 2006, they followed up next studio album with The Great Burrito Extortion Case. High School Never Ends, yet another chart topper that people really, really latched onto, and very fitting, and one I can still relate with.
Can we talk about their album names real quick? Because I mean, Drunk Enough to Dance is relatable, right? Uh-huh. And then A Hangover You Don't Deserve, also relatable. And then all of a sudden, you comes along The Great Burrito Extortion Case. You're like, wait, what? What's this?
They got their things. I'm okay with that.
Oh, they also did going to the movies.
Yeah, their movies album, because they 2009 they had Sorry for Partying, mm-hmm. which had My Weena, which is an amazing video where they're talking about a wiener dog, but they do the entire video with somebody dressed up as a big giant pink phallus. Yep. And it's just so upbeat and happy. Then they got Fishin' for Woos, came out in 2011. And this is when I kind of fell out of touch with some of them, because I kind of lost touch with a lot of the albums coming out, and there wasn't any ones that stood out off this album to me. Like, oh, this is an amazing song. It's still good, but there was nothing that jumped out at me from this one as being one of the top songs. And they had Lunch Drunk Love in 2013, which that was another one that I didn't get into all that much. Drunk Dynasty came out in 2016, their 10th studio album. That one had a cover of Hey Jealousy, which was kind of entertaining. Drinking beer on a Sunday. Another song I can't say on the podcast. Then let's see, where are we in the list of options? They had Drunk Dynasty 2016, and then, coincidentally, which I didn't even realize was happening until you brought up Bowling for Soup, but Pop Drunk Snot Bread. Brand new album coming out April 1st of this year.
Again, with the names, it's like they were relatable with the names, and then all of a sudden it's like they're playing Mad Gabs and they're just trying to put stuff This doesn't
Well, it's
make
funny
any
because I was
sense.
looking that up, then I saw the post about that album coming up. Oh, cool, new Bowling for Soup album, something else to look forward to. Supposedly, I was on Reddit, somebody said that Jarrett, the frontman of Bowling for Soup, is also having a country album that he's going to put out in February. And the first single is called Songs About Texas. And I looked it up, and sure enough, he performed a bunch of songs last year. I had to go find these videos that were songs he wrote that were not Bowling for Soup songs, and he performed a bunch of them last year. And I guess he apparently put them on albums, going to put it out too. So that's something else to look forward to. Greg Graffin put out a country album or two, or folk album or two. So why can't Jarrett put out a country album?
Okay, yeah, that makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing too is like, if you just followed us through all their different albums and you're like, maybe I've heard one of those songs, I guarantee you have. But also, if you're a fan of Phineas and Ferb, they did the title song.
Mm-hmm.
They did the theme song for Phineas and Ferb, and I think they helped with some of the other songs in there too.
Oh, yeah, they did one. There was an entire Phineas and Ferb love Handel, we're going to say it with the umlaut over the top of it. So there's a whole bunch of songs that put it with that where they're playing on there, and they have...
They appeared in an episode of the Phineas and Ferb Quantum Boogaloo. Greatest Day, which is one of their songs, was a opening song to a Nickelodeon film, The Last Day of Summer. So, I mean, they've been everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And Jarrett's also a accredited voice actor in a few projects as well.
What's he been on?
He's actually been in Phineas and Ferb for a little while, and wrote a song for Sonic the Hedgehog Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
He's the songwriting production team for Linus of Hollywood. Started an independent record label called Crappy Records.
That's on par. Okay.
He was the voice of the Chuck E. Cheese mascot starting in 2012. So for a while, Chuck E. Cheese, music and voice of the Chuck E. Cheese character, that was our man, Jarrett.
What? This is stuff like, this is one where I really appreciated Bowling for Soup. And when I found out that they did Phineas and Ferb, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But now you find out all this other stuff where you're like, it was one of those ones like, oh, they deserve more, which I still think they deserve more recognition, everything like that. But they've had their hand. At least Jarrett has had his hand in a lot of things.
Mm.
How do you get? Hey, you want to be a mouse?
Yeah, he was also in MC Lars's album or a song. Download This Song. Jarrett is the voice singing on there.
That's who opened up for Bowling for Soup, was MC Lars. That was my first concert.
Mr. Record Man. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then he was did some stuff with Army of Freshmen in 2006. Did a song with the Lords in 2006. Did a song with Junior in 2007 for Are We Famous Yet? Then there's your Endless Possibility you just talked about. Also sang with MC Lars for I'm Dreaming of a Green Christmas. Sang with a band called Darlington. Sang with a band called Roller Coaster. Did the theme for FC Dallas with Dallas Till I Die. Did a song with Marty Dodson for Sonny and Cher. Did a song with Bret Michaels where they covered What I Got on an album called Jammin' with Friends.
What?
Patent Pending is a band he played with for a song called Classic You. He was in a band called Suburban Legends doing Love Song. Did with the Karma Kids doing a song called Matrix. And he also appeared on Punk Rock Factory's cover of Let It Go. Which Punk Rock Factory, if you love punk rock covers of pop songs, great band to look up on YouTube. But he also sang in that Let It Go version they sang out with too. So, just a few other things. Then he was himself in the movie Crossroads and the movie Cursed. He was the voice of Danny in the Phineas and the Ferb movie.
Crossroads, is that the Britney Spears one?
Probably. Where they actually appeared as a band, so I think they might have been playing at a show. I don't think I've ever watched it. He was Bella and Amadeus, the movie 2. He was Amir. He was Daniel Kilgore in Saving the Tin Man. And he was himself in Nevermind the Buzzcocks. He played Finn Belcher in Monster Dad. He played Danny and was himself in a Phineas and Ferb episode. All that from some dude in some pop punk band from Texas that opens up for somebody else.
They've done pretty well. I mean, again, I don't know what the rest of the band has kind of done because, it's been following the lead singer, which I have a feeling that he still incorporates them in everything. He doesn't seem, from the projects that I've seen him on, he's not like some of the other bands out there where the lead singer, gets all the fame and then they get offered everything and the other bands kind of just push aside. He still kind of, it seems, finds a way to incorporate them.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at their band lineup, and there's only been 6 people in the band in existence. Jarrett and Chris have been it the entire time. Then their bass player, Eric Chandler, started with them, and he quit in 2019, but they left on good terms because it was just too much for his personal life. So they said, hey, I can't keep doing this, and he left. They're still friends, still hang out. So it wasn't like a falling out. And then they replaced him with a guy named Rob. And then Lance Merrill was in the band from the early when they started until 99, and then he was out. But he still showed up and appeared and played some guest spots with them on different tours around. And then they've had the other guy that replaced him ever since. I mean, most bands, maybe 2 or 3 people the same, but they'll have 2 or 3 of their replacements that every 2 or 3 years that somebody new. We got new drummer every other album. But no, they're all together, and like I think it's something about having fun. As they probably all love it. And they probably all love hanging out and. I think they'd be a fun band to just like hang out, not at a concert with. Be like, hey, we're gonna go to a barbecue. Bowling for Soup's gonna be there playing songs. No. Well, they're playing frisbee and bringing wings.
Right, and that's the thing is like what was it, a couple months ago or everything like that. Like during the summer, they played a barbecue joint. Well, I mean, it's kind of a concert venue too, but here in Texas, and I was like, oh man, I want to go. I didn't end up going, but it was one of those ones like, oh man, and like they're not ones to stay away from making fun of themselves, like their greatest hits is like songs people actually liked or something. That's right. It's something like title, which is just great. I mean, and like you said, with the music videos, you watch the music videos, they're a lot of fun. They're high energy. They poke fun at themselves. And especially, I think they have one later, but like the Scooby-Doo-ish one, because that's one you're talking about, right?
A couple. Let me just pull it up because
they did the one with Hanson, which was the Scooby-Doo type.
Oh, I forgot about the Hanson one.
Yeah, and then they did the one with the puppets, right? That's the other one.
The puppet is the one I'm thinking of here.
Yeah, but then they did that Scooby-Doo one with Hanson, which was animated and a lot of fun. But the puppet one is the one that's like calling attention to their old age and stuff, right? That's one that kind of spoke to our souls.
Yes, Getting Old Sucks is the name of that tune.
Yep.
And it's when you're getting up to our age, it hits home real good. Kill 'Em with Kindness looks like some odd special effects and some superhero spandex they're wearing. 1985, they mimic a whole bunch of 80s music videos, like the thumbnail
so
is of him dressed up like Robert Palmer. Girl the Bad Guys Want. I mean, that one speaks for itself. Same with High School Never Ends. The Getting Old Sucks as the Puppets. Can't say that word either.
What's the one that they did with Hanson? It's something like Spread the Love or God, what is it? I had it.
I feel like this is my age showing through now because I'm like, I remember that. It's wait, what? What are we talking about?
Kill 'Em with Kindness. That's the one. It's the Hanson.
No, it's Where's the Love, because it's the Hanson one is the Scooby-Doo one.
Oh,
the entire video looks like a Scooby-Doo episode, and
gotcha. It's
amazing. And it's at first I didn't realize it was actually Hanson. I had to do a double take and one look. I'm like, is that really Hanson? That is Hanson. Oh, good times. I'm gonna have to go watch Bowling for Soup videos after we're done with this. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll have to put that playlist together and embed it in the podcast as well, so people can have that for fun's sakes.
Yeah, Where's the Love? Bowling for Soup with Hanson. Yep, it's such a fun video. I remember just watching. It's like,
and I feel like they've perfected a lot of things. I think OK Go is one of the bands that has been the greatest use of music videos, because even if they have a song that's not great, you're enthralled by the music video. And Bowling for Soup has done that numerous times too, that even if you're like, it's an okay song, the video is enough to make me want to watch it and go back and watch it again and show it to somebody else. Like, watch what happens here. And so, and I like most of the music too, so it's double whammy for me. But
And if you're ever able to see them live while they're still can move, because getting old sucks. But if you're ever able to see them live, pandemic ends, whatever, they're like coming to your neighborhood.
Well, with the new album, you'd think they've got to be going on tour again at some point, right?
I would think. That's where my thoughts were going. Is hopefully they'll make their way back, and I don't know. It's just it's one of those ones too. Like when the song comes up that we when we were on the radio when we played, it's just like it. I helped. I may not have helped a lot, but I helped a little with you guys.
So to show just how much prep work we probably didn't do for our podcast, I just went to this thing called their website on the interwebs. They have this place you can go to places, and they'll tell about things. They have a tour going on. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. February 15th, they're going to be in Connecticut, then New York, then Let's see if that's coming. In
our defense, the past 2 years have been kind of crazy because of the whole pandemic when everything's like shut down, open, shut down, open. So, in our defense, we didn't know. But now we do. I mean, this was a thing. It's like we're like, let's do Bowling for Soup.
I mean, they're doing the East Coast and then they're going to the United Kingdom, and I want to go there. Like, if this comes back here, it's Bowling for Soup, Lit, the Dolly Rots, and Matt Stocks going across the UK in 2022. Like, that sounds something I would want to go to.
What year is it?
I wanted to go there 20 years ago, and I want to go there now.
God, man. I'm glad that they're still touring, that they're still, they may not be getting the recognition anymore that they had, but it seems like things are still going really well for them. They still have their hands on a lot of things, and they have a new album coming out.
And it sounds like they got big enough. Like I don't know the ins and outs of their finances, but I would guess they probably have enough residual coming in from the hits they had that they can probably still comfortably do this and have fun, and that is the greatest thing anybody can hope for, right?
Well, I'm sure they got a nice check from Disney as well, so...
Yeah, it's true. What paid for this? Phineas and Ferb.
Right? Season 3, Episode 2. That's what's paid for this.
I mean, they're an entertainer. You go look at, like I said, any of the interviews you go with them, they bring that same energy to interviews. Whether you read them or watch them, they're entertaining human beings to watch, and not in a like clowny way like a lot of modern celebrities. Like, you're just waiting to see what goes wrong next. They just look like they're genuinely fun.
you know that they were the class clowns in school. That not necessarily the class clowns in a bad way. You know how, because like sometimes you're like, oh, I was the class clown. I always did this and this. They were the class clowns that actually like made a difference. That's what I feel.
Well, even the ones like, you go back to the My Hometown song, somebody go to lyrics to that. They could be the get out of my hometown's terrible, everybody there is horrible, you all suck, we're blah blah, and you know how we do a thing. But they literally go back and thank people from their past, the people that made fun of them, the teachers that made them do extra work, the people that helped them pawn off somebody to get their first guitar player, and just go back to their roots a little bit. And it's like, no, we didn't do this. We don't have some magical power that suddenly we're rich and famous now. You can all go to heck. It's you all played a part in this, and we want to celebrate that. But get out and go see the world.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, there's always messages too. Like, they're fun lyrics, and then like the hometown when you're like, and then you just start like, yeah, man, I do need to get them out of hometown. Type of thing.
That was my feelings you just hurt.
Oh man.
Yeah, so Bowling for Soup. Let's spotlight. Now, hopefully you learned a little bit more about Bowling for Soup. If you already liked Bowling for Soup, hopefully you maybe agreed with some of the stuff we thought. If you don't know what Bowling for Soup is and you're still listening, I'm assuming you're intrigued. Go look them up. Go look them up right now.
Well, maybe you heard. I mean, because there was a trend at one point, or I don't know, people started using the 1985 tune, but they changed the words to like, what is it, 2005 on TikTok, and started naming off a whole bunch of stuff. So maybe you heard that version. I don't know, but I think they even took Twitter or something like that. It was like, yeah, that's a good good thing. I don't know. But I digress.
The kids these days. Bowling for Soup. Thank you guys for still going on tour. Thank you for making more music. We love you.
Come back to Texas and go on tour.
No, come back to Colorado.
So
you live in
they
Texas.
can surf Colorado and then they can come back to Texas.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I got a basement you can sleep in if you need to.
Make sure you tweet that at them.
Well, let us know at Get Geekish. What's your favorite Bowling for Soup song? I want to take a poll here and find out what you think is the best one.
Mine, Running From Your Dad. I love that song. It's so much fun.
I'm going to have to put some thought into which one mine is because we've talked about a dozen of them today that now I'm like, oh, right. I forgot about that. It's been a while. So,
well, the thing is, too, you pop on the album, you're like, oh, yeah. So,
yeah. So let us know at Get Geekish, Bowling for Soup, shining the Get Geekish spotlight on them this week. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk at you next week. Hey, thanks for listening. We truly appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. Find us on social media at Get Geekish, and if you want more podcasts, we got plenty of them.